Today you will be taking a micro course on therapeutic crisis intervention. This course was developed using materials from Cornell University's Therapeutic Crisis Intervention program. Today you will learn what the different stress levels are and some of the behaviors that are connected to them. You'll be given scenarios to analyze, and you will determine what stress response the child is displaying. Finally, you will work on understanding your own stress level before deciding how to take action in addressing these student behaviors. We've all experienced stress, from a drink spilled on a new outfit to a serious illness in your family. You've experienced the gamut and have probably had many different reactions. We know our students do not always have the strategies to regulate themselves during stressful situations. The outcomes can sometimes be aggressive or even violent without appropriate interventions. The stress model of crisis shows how different events can trigger, escalate, and create outbursts in people if interventions and strategies are not properly employed. As a person becomes more and more stressed, it takes longer for them to come back down to their own baseline. When I mention the word baseline, it is like saying your emotional normal. Now, not every student's normal is the same. Some students are more physical. Their baseline might be moving around the room continuously. Others might be very quiet, so sudden bouts of chattiness or talking back would be very out of the ordinary. Either way, a triggering event is something that sets a person off. It makes a person act agitated, a little different from their normal. Think about your own classroom. What might trigger a student's stress response in your classroom? After the triggering event, if the student is not brought back to baseline through time or intervention, escalation can occur. Escalation can feel like the stress load is beginning to feel like too much, like everything is going wrong. Responses can go anywhere from balled up fists to crying or yelling, or maybe even hurtful comments. Think about the student who has just said the nastiest thing under their breath when you hand back their paper. That bad grade was probably not their first crisis event of the day. If nothing intervenes from an escalated student, they may become violent or have an outburst crisis. This can look like hitting, destroying property, or even self-harm. When a child is in an outburst state, they're no longer able to think rationally. Interventions at this phase are very difficult. Our goal is to get students back to baseline at early levels of stress, where we are able to get through to them. We also must understand that it takes time to get to baseline. A single word or one strategy might not be the key for each student. The first step is getting students back to baseline, is realizing where they are on the chart. Let's check out a couple of scenarios to see if we understand. First, we have Lexi. Lexi is a student that usually does what is right, is polite and helpful to the teacher. When she walks into the room today, she sees the desks are rearranged into new groups. When you point to her new assigned seat, she rolls her eyes and crosses her arms. What do you think her crisis level is based on her reaction? Next, we have Dory. Dory's a forgetful child, and she had a rough morning because she lost one of her favorite Crocs at swim lessons last night. When she got to school, she realized her best friend was absent, so at lunch, she sat alone with her head down. Then, out at recess, she pushed Aiden off the swings because he got there first. What is Dory's crisis level? Throughout these trainings, we will be working on different strategies to help students like Dory and Lexi. But before we can begin, we have to ask ourselves 4 questions to analyze the situation. First, self-reflect. Ask yourself, what am I feeling now? Are you feeling agitated or aggressive yourself? Can you really help someone else if you are escalated? If you are at an okay place, ask, what does this young person feel, need, or want? Then, think about and ask, how is the environment affecting the young person? Do they need space, food, or maybe even a physical break? Finally, begin to think about how best to respond. We hope you find this video helpful. Next time you see signs of stress in your classroom, think of this training and it might help you analyze what might be going on.